Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Clarity Tarot and Astrology. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys are all doing very well and are excited for tonight's live reading session. Tonight, we are doing full moon readings for the full moon in Aquarius. Hope you guys are all feeling okay right now. I did a full breakdown about this full moon. So if you haven't already watched that, it is live on the channel. And if you are a member of my channel, I have released the full moon predictions for each of the 12 signs. So be sure to check those out. But here on the live stream, I will be doing live full moon readings. So if you'd like to get your chart read tonight or get some cards pulled tonight, then you can absolutely do that. I have all the information for that in the description box. Give that a look over and just donate for the offering that you would like. All right. If you are watching this in the recorded version, then hello, welcome. If you still want to get a reading with me, be sure to subscribe to the channel with your notifications so you know when I am live, or you can always book a private reading, and I will put the link for that down below as well. Now, members of my channel, if you haven't yet gotten your free monthly reading, or if you have any astrology readings that you need to use, you can use that for this full moon. If you would like, just let me know. All right, guys. So I think that is everything that I have to say at this particular moment in time. Happy full moon, and let me know if you have any questions. Hello, Rhoda. Let me know if you can hear me okay. All right, perfect. So let's look at your chart. No worries. Still Mercury retrograde. We're still having funky stuff happening, but glad to hear that you had a good day. Let me actually turn on the transit so I can show you what's going on in your chart right now. Okay. Alrighty, so here is your chart right now. So full moon in the 10th house. This is a big full moon. Whenever you have a full moon in any of your uh, you know, big houses, your first, fourth, seventh, 10th, your cardinal houses, these are full moons that you feel and they have an impact on you. And this particular one is highlighting your career, it's highlighting your public reputation, your status, kind of where you're sitting right now in life in regards to how you kind of rank up against other people, let's say. So, you said you had a long but accomplished day. Was that at work? Mhm. So, how are things going for you in terms of work and your career? You said it's been a rough week, so compared to the rest of the week. Okay. So, yes, having a full moon in your 10th house definitely can be a little bit rough just because this moon is ruled by Saturn. And at the time of this full moon, Saturn is in your 12th house of Aries. So, kind of the challenge is like there's a lot of work that you're doing behind the scenes. There's a lot that you would probably rather be doing with your time right now. And so that can make this moon feel a little bit, like, ugh. You said it's going about the same. I'm exhausted and having a hard time keeping up with everything, but I'm doing my best trying to stay positive about things. We have a very difficult group of people right now. Yeah. So this is going to be a full moon where you can really take a step back and, look at what's going on in your career right now and kind of decide, is this just a hard, season right now? Is this just a temporary thing? Or is this just how the job actually is? And, you know, is it a situation where you have to be more and do more in order to feel in control? Or is the job too much? Is it too heavy? Is it way too much on you where you maybe have to think about, looking at something else that maybe doesn't pull on your energy so much? Because with Saturn being in your 12th house for the next 3.5 years, you are going to be exhausted. Okay. Exhausted. Saturn, any house in the 12th house, it wants to rest, it wants to heal, it wants to recover. And with the ruler of your 10th house of career in the 12th house of endings and relaxing and, all of that, this is like a long-term thing that you're going to be dealing with. So you just kind of have to think like, is it just, yeah, I just need a vacation. I just need a break. I just need a little bit of time off. Or do you genuinely want to keep investing in this career, going down this path and like committing to getting better with it? And that's what I named the title of this full moon, was committing to your unique path, because everyone's path is going to require a level of difficulty, right? Even if you're on the right path, it still requires, sacrifice. It still requires, um, a long term mindset. Like, it's still going to require work, but is the work worth it? That's something that you have to ask yourself right now. And you said, if the pay was better, I would be okay with it. Okay. Well, for you specifically, this full moon is trining your Chiron in Gemini in your second house. So this full moon is happening at 17 degrees, and you have Chiron at 17 degrees in your second house. And this is all about your worth. You're learning in this lifetime to value yourself more. And this could be a moon where you are going, hey, you know what? Like, I think I deserve more. You know, a healed Chiron in this situation would say, look, I'm giving a lot of my energy and a lot of my time, and I need to be compensated at this particular level. And so that might be a conversation that maybe you need to have with your employer or your boss or HR of like, this is a lot for me. This is, very, very draining for me. And, you know, I need to be compensated more. Otherwise, I'm going to have to look for something else, and really standing up for yourself and, protecting your energy, because no one can do that than you. Your job is going to take whatever they can get from you at, the lowest possible pay. But if you feel like you've proven yourself, let's say, you feel like you've put in your time and you feel like you want to invest more, but you just need the company to invest more in you. And that can be a conversation that you need to have over the next 2 weeks while this energy is potent. And yes, it's hard for you to do because your Chiron is there, because your Chiron is there. This is something that you're learning to do in this lifetime. This is a wound that you have. You have a difficulty with your value and your self worth and understanding what your value is, and properly um, distributing your value. With a Chiron here, this can bring low self esteem and low value. Therefore, you end up in situations that show that to you. You end up working too hard. You end up with people that don't value you because the core is that you don't value yourself enough. And there could be a fear of, if I stand up for myself, then I'm going to lose, or I'm going to be rejected, or I'm not going to be um I'm not going to get what I want, basically. So I'm just going to take what I can get. And so this is something that you're learning how to overcome during this lifetime, is how to assert your value, and knowing that there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and that actually when you are firm in your value, that people respect you more and you feel better. You feel better when you exert your your worth, essentially. Because if someone doesn't, let's say you ask your job for more money and they're like, no, we can't, and you walk away, well, you feel better. You actually win. It may feel like a loss, but you actually win because you're standing up for yourself. And so this is something that you're kind of having to overcome in this lifetime, is that fear of like standing up for yourself and learning how to walk away, if you're not getting what you want, not being afraid to walk away. And that's why so many people stay stuck in, not only jobs, but, relationships and situations where, they're not happy. It's because they're afraid to walk away. They're afraid of, what happens on the other side of that. There could be uncertainty, and things like this. But, once you can learn how to do that, your Chiron will be healed. And then you can be the wounded healer, and you can then help other people to know their worth, and to, you know, assert their confidence as well. You said, I just had a similar conversation the other day with another employee. Yeah. And the people that you work with are also soulmates as well. And so they typically are going through similar things with worth and things like that. So that could definitely be happening for you right now. All right. So that's the biggest thing, right? With the full moon in the 10th house, it's really about looking at your career and going, okay, how are things going here? Do I want to keep investing? Do I want to keep doubling down on this? Do I want to keep pushing forward? Or is it time for me to start packing it up and looking elsewhere? So this is the something you'll have to deliberate over for the next couple of weeks. Other than that, this moon is actually making a sextile to your natal Saturn. And you have your natal Saturn in the eighth house of death, rebirth, and transformation. So a sextile is an opportunity. You have an opportunity to transform a fear, or to transform a vulnerability, or to transform an insecurity with this full moon. And that would be in the form of, likely, asking for money, or, asking for like better working conditions, like maybe a better schedule or something like that, something that makes this better for you, and not giving all of your power away to your employer and feeling like you have to be the one that's like losing. You have to be the one that's like, you know, you're not getting any of your needs met, and you're just simply serving, whereas your employer is going to be fine, like whether you're there or not, like operations are not going to cease. So it's like, if you want to continue to be there, you have to make sure that the circumstances are good for you. Otherwise, you're better off going somewhere else. So that's what that sextile to your Saturn is. But again, we're talking about Saturn here. So this is difficult. It's challenging. Chiron, it's difficult. It's challenging. It's not easy. This is also sextiling your North Node, and it's trining your South Node. So you actually have a lot of 17s in your chart. If you look at it, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 17s. So that's like a really important number. And when you add 17 together, you get 8, which is the number of power. Okay. So power is a big theme in your life. And I feel like one of the goals for your life, especially with this North Node here, one of the goals for your life is to learn how to exert your power, to understand that you have power. You're not powerless. And with your North Node, again, it's an opportunity, it's a sextile here. So this full moon is giving you an opportunity to move forward onto your path. But the way that you do that is by being authentically you. Okay. The thing about you having Aquarius as your 10th house is you're meant to do a career, or you're meant to have a public reputation or a status that is unconventional, that is different in some way, where you are doing something, that's not average. You're here to innovate something, to make something better. And so, you know, if you kind of feel like you're just doing regular old jobs that really aren't fulfilling to you, where you don't really feel like you're making a difference, or where it just doesn't really feel like the power dynamic is right, then that's something to really, be mindful of. And again, by improving the circumstances of your work, your career, um, this can help you to align to your ultimate path. You have the South Node in your sixth house. So this is something that you're comfortable doing, but you're being asked to evolve beyond. And so it might be very easy for you to be in a position of service, right? To just kind of be told what to do, to show up and be useful. You have Libra here, you're very cooperative, easy to work with, et cetera, et cetera. But you're being asked to move more towards this North Node in Aries, where it's doing your own thing, being your own boss, being in control of yourself, having control of your time and your energy, and being able to spend time healing and being immersed in your spirituality. And this even could see you studying at university, or studying abroad, or foreign travel. Uh, not being confined to where you are right now. And so, in order for you to be able to do that, it requires you to go off on your own unique path. And so, if you're kind of just like finding that, you just work these jobs and you don't really get anywhere, and it's hard to make ends meet, it's because that's not really the path that you're meant to be walking. And, with these 17s, it's about having power over yourself, not letting other people have power over you, telling you when to come in, telling you how to use your time, telling you, how to live your life. You have to get to a point where you're living life on your own terms. You're doing things that work for you, and you're not afraid to say no or walk away because it doesn't meet your standards, and that's just that. And you're not going to you know, lower yourself for anyone. So, Definitely think, especially with the trine to the south node, like it's really time to um really look at what you're doing on a daily basis. Look at your habits, look at your routines, and figure out, are they really helping you to be on your divine path? You said maybe that's why I've been struggling so much. I definitely need to sit down and think about things. Yeah, for sure. And you have this is a good window to do it. You have, time. You don't have to figure it out all right now. You can use, especially this weekend as a good time to think about it, but even, the next couple of weeks to get clear about what it is that you really want from your life and then think like, is this current job career that I'm in, is it actually going to help me to get there? Or is it just something that you do that kind of just keeps you busy and occupies you and kind of keeps you stuck in your south node energy as opposed to allowing you to evolve into this north node energy? So, yeah, for sure. Something to ponder over as well. And then in the big picture, in the grand scheme of things, you have Pluto, the planet of death, rebirth, and transformation, transiting through your 10th house, right? So, over the next 20 years of your life, you're meant to step into your power. Okay. So, it's not an overnight thing, right? It's not something that right now in 2025, you need to have figured out. But certainly over the next 20 years of your life, you're meant to be evolving, and being authentic. The thing about Pluto is that Pluto is very real and it gets to the bottom of things and it can't stand fake energy. It can't stand doing something that it doesn't want to do. Like think of the P of Pluto as power, right? So when it comes to your career and your public reputation and your status, it's like you need to be in a position of power. You need to always have power over yourself, over the next couple of years. Pluto is retrograde right now, right? So it's more about doing the inner work and examining the power dynamics within you and how you feel about power and how you feel about, you know, yourself. So that's kind of more of what Pluto is right now. But as we move into 2026 and beyond, that's when, it's time to really start pushing forward on this journey of, you know, getting into the position that you really need to be in. So yes, and while Saturn is in your 12th house, this is kind of breaking down old systems. So the 12th house is where things go to end and where things go to die, and Saturn rules your 10th house of career. So you might kind of be destructing things over the next couple of years, but you're destructing things in your life and you're breaking things down in your life in order to build something better, stronger, something that can last the test of time and that can really give you a platform to stand on. You can think of P of Pluto as platform as well. So, you know, I feel like you are someone that has a powerful story of transformation that can really help and heal other people. And I feel like you're being asked to embrace this and to use your story, to use your past as a platform to stand on to help you to elevate yourself and then to bring other people up behind you. But you've got to get into a higher position, right? Like the work you're doing right now, it might be good and it might be meaningful, but it might not be big enough. It might not be, you know, exactly where your soul, wants to be, which is why it could feel difficult right now because your soul knows this is not it. So, other things that are happening right now is yeah, you've also got the north node, transiting north node that is conjunct your Jupiter. So, you know, Jupiter is all about learning, and Jupiter is all about growth and abundance and expansion, and the North Node is here. And so the North Node being right on top of your Jupiter in the 11th house of your goals and plans and dreams for the future, and the gains that you gain from the hard work that you do in your career, the North Node is saying, hey, think bigger, right? Jupiter is a big thinker. Think bigger. Think, you know, think more long term. You could do so much more. And yeah, the place that you're at right now, it might not be that container or that vessel that you really need to be in right now. Let's see. We also have Uranus that's, working its way through your second house. Uranus here is wanting to, really upgrade your finances as well. It wants to liberate you financially, get you in a better place financially. So that's a whole other thing that's going on for you. We've got the Jupiter Venus conjunction that's coming up in your third house. So you could have a really good download or a great conversation here in the next couple of days that really helps to free you. Mercury retrograde is finishing up in your fourth house of home and family. So all that stuff's gonna start smoothing out here soon. And Mars has just recently entered your sixth house. And this can also contribute as well to why work maybe feels more challenging and more difficult. And whilst Mars is in your sixth house, it is going to conjunct your South Node. So that can bring an ending. Okay. Let me figure out which day that is occurring. Because that's going to be a day to look out for. You said the lady for the housing submitted everything today, so fingers crossed on that. Yes. Good luck on that. Let me see when Mars. Okay, so on September 3rd, you will have transiting Mars conjunct your natal South Node in the sixth. So Mars can bring agitation, inflammation, it cuts, it removes things, and the South Node is about draining things from your life. So September 3rd and about that time could be very significant, especially in regards to work, health, and daily routine. So yeah, I definitely would be minding the work front. Okay. I would be looking for new jobs. Okay. Just in case something happens, because this could bring an end to a work situation. Um, and it would be a fated ending. So I think it's always better to jump than to be pushed. So I would be proactive and just looking at things, like seeing what's available, seeing what's out there, keeping the resume updated, submitting things just in case something happens here. Alrighty. And you said, my health has been affected. Hi, Nida. You can donate for a reading, yes. My health has definitely been affected this past week. Yeah, be super mindful of your health. This can create inflammation. Sixth house deals with stomach, gut issues, digestive issues. So just make sure you're eating healthy, you're taking the time to digest that food properly, you're drinking lots of water, keeping things regular, fiber, things like that are really important with this. And also, Libra has to do with kidneys. So if you are prone to kidney stones or anything like that, be mindful about that. Avoid foods that are high in oxalates, drink lemon water, things like that to try to avoid any type of kidney, issues, which are extremely painful. You said you were spot on about my digestive issues. Yeah, if you already have digestive issues and then Mars comes into the 6th house, it can kind of cause more inflammation. So you want to do things that are going to be anti-inflammatory during the whole duration of this. Yeah, because it can kick things up. So, yeah, that's what's going on. So, lots to think about in terms of your career, in terms of your destiny, your future, and, just making sure that you're in alignment with the bigger path. You have a gluten allergy. Oh my God. Oh God. And it's been tough changing my diet. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, just be really careful not to make any mistakes, like accidentally eating something, because then it could just, for whatever reason, like during this time, it just flares up like more than normal. So just be really, really careful about like cross contamination or eating something bad. You are very welcome. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.